Many of us have gazed at the night sky and wondered about the moon's mysteries. It has witnessed all the generations and changes of the world. People from ancient Greece observed the same moon as we do today. This is where Seline comes from. She is known as the goddess and personification of the moon. She is traditionally the daughter of the titans Hyperion and Theia. Hyperion, the titan of light, and Theia, the titaness of sight, contribute to Seline's identity as the luminous goddess associated with the moon. Seline is the sister of the sun god Helios and the dawn goddess Eos. Together, they bring light to the world in a never-ending cycle of day and night. The name Seline is believed to be derived from the Greek word Zeus, meaning light, and true to her name, she lights up the night, guiding travelers and sailors with a soft silvery glow. In Roman mythology, Seline had an equivalent, Luna, another moon goddess. But Seline's influence doesn't stop there. In the classical times, Seline found herself often identified with Artemis, just as Helios was identified with Apollo. Seline, Artemis, and Hecate, all moon goddesses, each represent the different face of the moon. While Artemis was the crescent or waxing moon, and Hecate the waning moon, Seline was the full moon, embodying the moon's complete illumination and its effects on the earth. So now that we know what she represents, let's take a look at some stories. I must mention that there are many variations. The one I'll share with you is what I believe to be the most logical and entertaining. I will also share the variations of the story, but I'll save those for last so that we don't linger too long on the same point. There are references in some ancient texts that Seline had children with Zeus. One of the most commonly mentioned daughters of Zeus and Seline is Pandia, whose name means all brightness, fitting for the offspring of the chief of gods and moon goddess. Pandia is therefore sometimes considered a goddess of brightness or the full moon. Ursa, sometimes Circe, whose name means dew, is also mentioned as a possible daughter of Zeus and Seline. She represents the dew and seen as a gentle nurture that could be attributed to the night and the moon's influence. Another figure that is occasionally referenced as a child of Zeus and Seline is Nemea. However, the information about Nemea is even more scarce than the other children, and it's not clear what role, if any, she played in mythology or occult practices. Some suggest it has something to do with the place Nemea. A more clear and notable relationship was between Selene and Endymion. Again, I'll tell the story what makes the most sense to me and later on the variations to the story to be told. The myth of Selene and Endymion is one of the most enduring and romantic tales in Greek mythology, rich with themes of love, beauty, and eternal youth. Endymion was said to be so handsome that Selene fell deeply in love with him from the moment she saw him sleeping in the cave on Mount Latmus on Caira, modern-day Latmus in Turkey. Selene's love for Endymion was so strong that she asked Zeus, the king of the gods, to grant them eternal youth and immortality so that he would never leave her. Zeus complied, but there was a catch. Endymion was put into an eternal sleep with his eyes wide open. He would stay forever young and asleep. Selene would visit him every night, casting a light upon him and watching over his eternal rest. Selene and Endymion's relationship was said to have produced numerous offspring. The precise number of their children varies in different accounts, but the most commonly cited figures are 50 daughters. These daughters are sometimes thought to represent the 50 lunar months of the Olympiad, a 4-year period used in ancient Greek calendars. However, detailed myths or rules for these daughters are not extensively elaborated in surviving ancient texts, leaving much to the imagination. The narrative of Selene's passionate love for Endymion, her desire to preserve him in a state of eternal youth, and a nightly visit to his sides, is a theme for longing and a sacrifice for love. It's about the depth of love and the length into which we might go to preserve and protect it. It reminds us to cherish and prioritize our relationships, recognizing the profound impact they have on our lives. Moving on to the story about Pan and Seline. Pan is associated with wild shepherds and flocks, nature of mountain wilds, and is often depicted with hindquarter, legs and horns of a goat. According to the myth, Pan fell in love with Seline and wanted to attract her attention. Knowing that Seline was the moon goddess and roamed the night skies, Pan devised a plan to lure her down to earth. To do this, he came up with the idea of wearing white fleece to cover himself, making him look like a radiant sheep in the moonlight. He then waited for Seline to ride in a chariot. When Seline saw the beautiful shining sheep, her curiosity was piqued. As she approached closer, it was then that Pan revealed his true form to her. Charmed by Pan's cleverness and his rustic beauty, Seline allowed him to join her in a chariot, riding through the night. This story symbolizes the union of celestial and earthly elements, showcasing Pan's connection with the natural and the wild. Okay, now that her stories have been told, let's take a look at the variations. The first one is about Zeus. While I told you they had 3 children, it's actually not very clear if they had any relationship at all. Some sources state that their children also had different parents. Knowing Zeus, I thought it would make the most sense if they did have a relationship in some way. The second one is about who Endymion really was. It's clear that he was a beautiful young mortal, but sometimes he is referred to a shepherd, hunter or a king. Now in the story that I told you, it's about Seline asking Zeus for immortality. However, in some versions it's believed that it was Endymion who asked Zeus to be immortal. In both cases, the side effect of eternal sleep was applied. I've also read somewhere that it was Hypnos who put Endymion to sleep. I do think that it would make more sense, but the resources for the story were very limited compared to the others. If we focus pure on the reason why he was put into the eternal sleep, there are 2 more versions. One is in order to protect him and the gods because he was so attractive. And the other is that he was just a hunter or a shepherd and that Seline as the moon watches over him. The third point is about the children of Seline and Endymion. Somehow Seline and Endymion got 50 children while he was asleep, but other sources say only a few children were born with some specific roles or connections to the other myths. To be honest, in this story there was only one thing that kept coming back in almost all the sources. Seline thought Endymion was beautiful and he went into an eternal sleep. If you know any other versions or variations, let me know in the comments, I'd love to read them. Now, to close this video, what can we learn about the story? The story of Seline and Endymion reveals the true power of love, its ability to shape future, and reminds us of the importance of temporary moments. As we live our lives under the same moon that watched over their everlasting love, it's important to focus on the present and recognize how love can motivate us. It also teaches us to appreciate the beauty in fleeting moments. Thank you for watching. Until next time.